Life Matters. And of course, I am your host, DBoss. And I'm just hoping that everybody's been doing their 15 minutes of laughing because it helps release stress, bring your blood pressure down. It also helps tone those abs. But I'm not saying you have to stop going to the gym. It also is a great healing. So what you put out is what you're going to get back. So you're going to smile. The whole world smiles back at me. But if they don't, oh well. You just keep it moving. So, and a lot of people will say, well, maybe I don't have anybody to laugh with or anything. Well, you could turn on something funny, call somebody. You could do all that. And if you had no resort, you say, okay, you know what, D-Boss, I don't have anybody at all. Well, they do have laughing classes that you could sign up for so that you could do your due diligence. But I had a comic on from Mad. Yes, it was Mad, like the comic. And he says that most people of the Caribbean families or, in the black community or something like, we're always cracking jokes and making ourselves laugh all the time. So he says that, it's kind of hard that people are not finding themselves, laughing or anything like that because we're very happy or we're always making things. But, if you're not in that kind of a family group, well, then you're just going to have to watch something funny and watch something on TV or internet. There's so much things. So we're going to hear something right back from one of our sponsors, Vital Steps to Vital Health, and we'll be right back with our special guest.
Welcome to your Vital Steps to Better Health and Fitness. I'm Joanne James. Today we're talking about preventing falls and injuries in older adults. Preventing falls is crucial for maintaining health, independence, and well-being in the older adult. And how can we do this? We do this by making sure that they get regular exercise that includes strength training, balance, and flexibility as some of the components of fitness. Also, safe-proof their homes. Make sure that you reduce their tripping hazards, say loose cords, rugs, and the stair lighting, things like that. You want to make sure that everything is well lit for them. And also medication. Review the medication with the doctors on a regular basis. Some medications cause dizziness and drowsiness, which increases the risk for falls. It's always important to note that we can't eliminate falls, but we can certainly reduce the risks of falls. I'm Joanne James, and this has been your Vital Steps to Better Health and Fitness. See you next time.
Thank you, Joanne James, for that. And, that's a good tip there. Those cords, especially now we got the cell phone cord, we got the laptop, we got the tablet cord, we got all these cords now. And if you're doing podcasts and stuff, you got all those other cords. So, you just got to, even us, we have to be aware of those cords so we don't trip and fall, more or less for the mature adults. Okay. But people, we got a real spicy, upbeat guest for you today. And we're going to find out about him and all the stuff and the wonderful things he's done in his career and his lifetime and his journey. So, we're going to get right into it. So with no further ado, we're going to introduce to you Andre Smith, and it's Smooth Dre. Welcome.
Yeah. Hello. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Now he's so cool and collective,
Yeah, before I was just all over the place.
But this is Real Life Matters, so we're going to catch you any way we can.
That's right.
All right. So here at Real Life Matters, we like to know where people, what their background, their culture, where they come from. Like if you come from the Caribbean or you're raised down south or where.
Okay, well, I am Smooth Dre, and I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, and East Flatbush, right across from Lincoln Terrace Park, if you're familiar.
Oh my God! Yes,
In the
yes,
night,
we know exactly where that
yeah,
is.
in the '90s, in the Rutland Plaza. Yeah,
Wow.
so yeah, right there. Yeah, so yeah, my mom and my pops was from down south, so I have roots in Alabama, which is where I am right now. But yeah, and Brooklyn, New York is of course where I first heard that phenom going on, with the rap music. I was about 13 years old, and a cousin of mine from down south called me, and I'm in New York, and I'm listening to these guys, but I'm not really paying it any attention, right? Don't really have a favorite rapper or anything. And he calls me and he has this rap about jeans, Jordache and Sassoon and
Oh
all of
yeah, I
these
remember
different,
those ones.
yeah. And he had a long rap about it. And I said, and I got off the phone and I was like, man, that dude is whack. You know what I mean? That rap was whack. And I really felt that. And I got off the phone and it took me about 20 minutes to write 3 verses. The first time I ever wrote anything to rhyme. And I called him back and he was blown away. And from his reaction, I said to myself, this is something that I could really get into, and from there, I had some guys around the neighborhood. All of a sudden, everybody is doing it. We're standing on corners, we freestyling, and we just passing raps. And you talk about that laughing thing. We used to rap and crack jokes on each other. We used to call it ranking. So we would talk about you and your mother and your brother and everybody and make jokes in while it rhymed. And that's just how we played. But one day it got serious when I got a little older. I was living
A little mature.
yeah, a little more mature. Some guys I was living in Bed-Stuy at this time. I was there was this barber shop downstairs from where I live. And the barber shop is the hub for everybody, all walks of life, the neighboring neighborhoods or whatever. And I was on Halsey and Marcus Garvey, and Mikey Dredd was in this, he owned the barber shop. And so I would go down there, and some guys at night would come through and they would rhyme, and I would listen to them, and nobody knew me because I was new to the block. And then all of a sudden, I freestyled one night, and Smooth Dre was born, and I blew them cats away. They were impressed about by my hooks, my wordplay. I wasn't really a metaphoric kind of guy, but my wordplay and the way I flipped my words and impressed them. And so every Saturday night, I started going down there and waiting for other people. It was like the barbershop was like owning me, like, yo, we got this rapper here, and when you guys come over, we want to see what you could do with him. His name is Smooth Dre. So these guys, one day, these guys came over. T Brown and One Love were their name, and they had a studio and a label, and they were Hot Tracks Lab, an independent label. And they came up, they rang my bell, and I was like, "Who is it?" It was like, "Yo, it's T Brown and One Love." Right? I said, "Who?" He said, "One Love." And I said, "Okay, let me come outside." I came out. They was like, "Yo, Smooth Dre, right?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Yo, I heard you was nice, man. We want to hear some of your stuff." You know what I'm saying? So we walked around to the park, and back then, I'll tell you, one of my demons back then was alcohol.
Oh.
And so I told him, I said, "Yeah," I said, "I can do this." I said, "But we got to stop at the liquor store first so I could get me a half a pint of vodka." You know what I mean? Because that's what it was. And once I got that, we walked around the park. I rhymed for them for about 2 hours. T Brown was going back and forth with me. Next thing I know, we're in the studio, and we cut a record called "Let Me Be the One." And that was the first time I had ever been into a real studio, where the kind of studio I would see like Tupac or Biggie going into in Lower Manhattan,
Ooh,
in
okay.
those underground where there's a lot of scaffolding above it. I was going into one of those studios, and they asked me to write my thing on the spot. And I did it, and they recorded it, and that became my first video. So
Wow.
you could see how it started and propelled into something that I wasn't even planning. It was just the nature, of the area, of the time, and I had the skill, and people wanted to hear it. And Mikey Dredd from the barbershop even took me. He was a producer too. He is a producer, and he took me in, and that's where I recorded a track called "Learn Your ABCs," and you cannot play that on this program.
What?
You cannot.
And
You
start
might.
talking about those kind of ABCs, people.
Right, yeah, I was talking about some real, and I go from A all the way to Z in rhythm,
Wow.
in description, and that's what. And I've had a few people ask me, "Did you really write that?" And it's like my most like vulgar, but you can see the art in it. You know what I mean? It's not that bad once you get past it the first time.
All
You
right, so
you yes.
all
Mm-hmm.
right, so who else have you worked with in the industry? I heard you work with Dave Chappelle.
Oh yeah, that was a great experience. I was actually working at Junior's restaurant. Are you familiar with Junior's
Yes.
downtown Brooklyn?
Yes.
Okay. I was a waiter there, and Dave Chappelle came in one day. He had a whole camera crew with him, and he was doing Dave Chappelle's block party. Okay.
Mm-mm.
So the people inside of the restaurant, I was a waiter, so I was, still drinking the sauce and working. So I was always upbeat, rhyming to the people like an entertainment behind the scenes for my fellow coworkers, so they knew I could rhyme. So when he came in, I was pressed. I felt pressured that I would have to approach this guy because I know that the only way people make it sometimes is if they take that chance. And if I would have let him get past me, I would have felt really bad about that. So
Wow.
I did approach him. And if you look at the movie, if you ever see it, it's exactly how it is. I go up to him and I say, "Can I get somebody to beatbox for me?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll beatbox for you. What kind of beat you want?" Like, yeah, whatever. Like this dude's getting ready to embarrass himself and all of us, and we're not gonna record any of this. They were just trying to catch footage, right?
So I
And
guess you
so
stopped work that day.
yeah, well, no. Well, look, that's the joke. He says after I'll tell you. So he starts to I said I want to beat like boom boom bap boom boom bap, and then he started and I had just written a song called um N on the side, okay? The N word on the side, all right?
Okay.
So and when independent women must have fell off the earth, because every girl I meet, no, that's stay out of my pocket. This one was many women tell me my style is so different. It is kind of good, but let's be specific. I'm not the type to be Russian. I'm not the type of guy who asks a whole lot of questions like, where you going, where you been, and can we have sex all the time? That's not important to D. I only date girls who have men or relations. So to be with me is like a mini vacation. But I don't let them girls spend my money like they're crazy. Have fun, drinks on the room and the baby. I don't argue. I control myself because I don't have to be loud or physical to be felt because after it's all over, we realized there was nothing. I walk away and later return and still be bumping. You never have to worry that I'd lie because I don't have to because I'm the N word on the side. And
Wow.
when I did that, he looked into the camera like, wow, and from that point on, true story.
He
From
liked
that
that.
point, yeah, that point on, he recorded it and he said in the camera, he said, looks like Smooth Dre doesn't want to work here anymore. And I was like, I didn't want to tell him that I wanted to go with him, but I'm like, figure it out, bro. What you think? You know what I'm saying? I'm pouring my heart out to you. So
Right.
now I couldn't go to the block party where he had guys really battling in the show. If you watch the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
But 2 weeks later, I hear my family in the house. Oh, Andre, come here. So I run into the room and I see my part on the commercial advertising Dave Chappelle's Block Party, the movie. My part. Okay,
Wow.
so I'm like, so after that, I'm still young, right? So I put on my money green cashmere blazer and I put on some sunglasses and I'm walking around in the hood like a movie star. I mean, I'm walking around, people recognize. I'm waiting for people to
Who are you?
recognize me, already, right? So I wouldn't know how to act back then. That's why I didn't make it back then. But then,
Oh my God.
so I get in the mail. I get 2 tickets to the premiere. Okay, where all of the stars are gonna come and watch it before the public watches it. So I tell my brother, okay, me and you are going. So we get there. I see Most Def, which is Yassine Bey now. I believe Jill Scott was there. Questlove was sitting right behind me and my brother in the theater out there on 34th Street. And
Okay.
all of a sudden, I hear him say, "Here it comes, here it comes." He's talking to whoever he's sitting with. He's like, "Here it comes." And I had never seen the movie, but he had obviously seen it.
Right.
And when the scene switched, it was my scene. And Questlove was like, "This, here it comes." So I turn around casually, like the smooth Dre I am, right? So I turn around casually, and I have a business card in my hand. And he said, "Oh, that's you." I said, "Yeah, that's me." I said, "Here." I said, "If you need any work, get in touch." Man, he probably tore that up right in the seat he was sitting in and dropped it on the floor because I never heard from him. But that was a great experience, and that part was bigger than they thought. That's why they invited me to the premiere. They
Wow.
invited me to the after party. I mean, I took pictures with Most Def and Dave Chappelle and his family. I mean, it was a great experience, and
Well, it sounds like it,
and
and he's
so
funny too. So.
yeah, yeah, he's funny. He's very funny. He has a cast member named Darnell. I used to open up for Darnell on Atlantic Avenue in Brooklyn.
Okay.
I forget the cross streets, but he used to do a comedy show every Monday night, and I had worked my way in. I was doing a lot of clubs at one time, just opening up with rap because rap and comedy goes hand in hand. It's a lot of shows start off with rap and then the comedian comes out. So that's what I was doing. Even for Dr. Dre from Dr. Dre and Ed Lover, Dr.
Right.
Dre had his own little hustle out there. I would open up for him. So I was working. I just didn't know how to work. I was just out there and pretty much having fun.
So
So yeah.
did you work with Dougie Fresh or?
No, I never worked with Dougie Fresh, unfortunately, because that means that I would have probably met Slick Rick, and Slick Rick is my favorite MC of all time.
Oh!
Yeah, the storyteller.
I interviewed
Yeah,
him,
yeah, but yeah,
and
that would have been an experience. I think if I would have ever gotten a chance to work with Dougie Fresh or Slick Rick, they might have felt that I might fit into their crew and maybe have given me a shot. Yeah, but I
so that's
did
why I was
rhyme.
thinking. I was saying, well, you got that thing, that
Storyteller,
charisma.
yeah. That's where I got it from. That's who I frame my style around, Slick Rick
Wow.
and the storytellers. Rakim, Big Daddy Kane,
Raheem.
those
Oh, I
guys,
thought I'd worked with him. Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. So
Big Daddy Kane. All right. So if you had the opportunity, because they got so much people doing different collaborations with people now, and look at Burna Boy, Busta Rhymes. Look how Busta Rhymes, he 50 years.
right. Yes.
You must have went crazy with the hip hop and stuff now.
Right. Yeah. It's incredible. It's incredible.
Yes.
But
So if you had the opportunity now, and because you've worked with so many, recognizable and iconic people, who would you like to work with or do something with? Because you never know. Real Life Matters here. A lot of people watch, and they
right.
catch on, and they have.
Right. Well, hey, I would love to do something with the master himself, Slick Rick. I would love that.
Okay.
And I know I would be able to follow his lead. All I would have to do is hear his rhyme, in that certain cut. And all he was has to have to do is ask me to, write a rhyme to go with this, and I definitely would be able to do that. And I think that that would be the one that I would love to work with one day.
All
Most
right.
definitely, yeah,
You got two
yeah.
more.
Two more,
You
okay.
got two more to do it.
Another one would be, hmm, Probably Big Daddy Kane.
Okay.
Yep.
But didn't you
And
work
if
with
and
Big Daddy Kane already?
what's that?
Didn't you just work with Big Daddy Kane, or you?
No, I never worked with Big Daddy
Okay.
Kane, but I rhymed for LL Cool J in person. I
What?
just caught him. Yeah, I just caught him in Red Lobster one day, and I just bust my rhyme, but he was trying to make it at the same time. And you don't realize how young these guys were, man. These guys were kids, and so was I, but they looked like grown men because they had a certain status.
Right.
So, but he blew me off. He said, "Yeah, that was hard," and he blew me off. I caught Ice Cube coming out of TGI Friday one night. He said my rhyme wasn't hard enough. It wasn't gangster enough. So I was like, okay, I appreciate you listening. But yeah, if I would, I've never worked with Big Daddy Kane, but that's another person I think that I could flow with. And
Okay.
if you were to ask me what group I would have loved to have worked with,
Okay. You can. We'll say it.
that
Smooth
group would
Dre.
be, I have to, A Tribe Called Quest.
Wow. So
Yes.
when you worked with Rakim, that's he's a very different kind of artist. He's very what is vintage or something vintage you could say.
Yeah, but he's still modern right now. His
Yes.
style is timeless.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, I get that some people call my style, they call it old school. Some people call it real hip hop, I guess, so not to make me feel bad. But I write, I write music, I
Okay.
write songs, I write things that when you walk away, the music is still in your head and you're still singing my hook. I don't just ramble off rhymes and then end with rambling rhymes. Even if they're good rhymes, I want you to have something where you get to the bridge, there's a build up, and then you start to sing along, and that thing sticks in your head, and you're with your friends, like, man, I can't get this song out of my head. That's the kind of music I write.
Okay.
Hmm.
Wow. Well, we heard it. Well, you work with Dave Chappelle, so do you still connect with him now,
I
or
wish I what I did was
you wish?
what I did was that one verse with N on the side, I wrote another verse. Now, if you go on my YouTube page, Smooth Dre to Don, and you'll find the video where I have the beginning of when he and I were rhyming in the beginning. It's the beginning of a video. And then I get in my car as the waiter, right? And I open the back door to my car for the new Smooth Dre. And
Okay.
I'm driving with Smooth Dre in the back, which is me. It's a lot of camera tricks. But I'm driving as the waiter in the front, and I kick the first rhyme. When I'm done with the first rhyme, I get out and I open the back door for Smooth Dre to get out, and he kicks the second rhyme. But it's the
Okay.
same song, and I'm trying my best to get that song to him. But I don't, their guys are untouchable when they reach a certain level. Different people are
Not
listening to
untouchable.
stuff, so we're just gonna have to try harder. But I would love to get that to him. I know he would remember it, and maybe he would like it, at least like it, and bring him a good memory and a good laugh. Oh, I remember that guy. He was a waiter, and let him see that I'm not a waiter anymore. You know
Well,
what I mean?
obviously.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us about this rap song that we're gonna. Yes, people, we're gonna let you hear it. Okay. Smooth Dre, "Stay Out My Pocket" teaser.
Okay.
So what's the meaning behind that?
All right. This song came at a time when I was a younger man, and it seemed like every woman I went out with, they had their hands open like cups, waiting for me to pour something in it. You know what I mean? And it was a thing around with the fellas. We were like, yo, and I hung around with a group of cats that, we just if we liked a young lady, we would take them out and we would do for them, but we weren't can I say it?
Yeah.
Tricks. We weren't tricks, and and we weren't like on that flavor, so we were totally against that. But if we
Okay.
liked the young lady, we would do, take them out and treat them nice. But the ones that we weren't even feeling like that, they were just approaching us, and we would talk about it. So that was like a buzz in my group. And so, hey, I write about things that I live, okay?
Okay.
And I might put a little sauce or a little fiction on it, a little twist on it to add some comedy or to add some adventure or something, dramatic. But for the most part, when you hear me write, it's from somewhere deep within. It's from a real experience.
So where
I
do you
don't
do
just
that? Do you do that at home, or you at the studio? You sitting in your house? Where do you do that
yeah,
creativity?
I have an office where I'm sitting right now, and I'll go on a website, beatstars.com or something like that, and I'll just listen to beats over and over, and all of a sudden the beat will catch me. Like the song that you're gonna play later on, Ride or Die. I was just listening to BeatStars, and that beat came on, and I didn't stop writing until I finished that whole song. Because I had that in me, because I have a ride or die in my life. So I
Okay.
could relate to that, and I wrote, and I didn't stop until I was done. But I usually write my rhymes in my office, all right, and on my phone in my notes. And if it's a go, then I will transfer them to my rap book. I have an organized rap book with the names of the beats that go with them. And once I get it like that, I'll take it to my man Zizerman Productions, who is my engineer, and I'll go into the studio, I'll record it, let him mix it down and master it, and then voila. I call him my magic man because sometimes I go in there and he tells me to do certain things. He's like a director too. He knows what he's doing. And it'll sound all jumbled up to me, And then once he's done with it, he's like, "Trust me, Dre, trust me." Once he's done with it and he shoots it out to me, it sounds like the ones that you have, because those are two that he has done.
You
The
gotta
ones
make
that
one
you
for
have.
me, D Boss. You gotta make one for D Boss. Real life matters.
Okay, cool. All right, I could do that.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
see. We can see what you can come up with.
Okay, okay, cool. I could do
All right.
that, definitely.
So let's hear this song now. Stay out of my pockets.
Okay.
Smooth Dre. Here we go.
Independent women must have fell off the earth. Cause every girl I meet try to get inside the purse. Smooth, I need a hand, do I need a pair of shoes? But I don't have a dime, but my rubber's ready to use. You can't get in my pocket cause I'm alias the Mac. I never pay for place, your girls don't shade up out my sack. You gave me sex once and now I owe you my account. The only funds available, my phone I can give out. Stay out my pocket, girl, stay out my pocket. Stay out my pocket, girl, stay out my pocket. Stay out my pocket, girl, stay out my pocket. Stay out my pocket, girl. Independent women must have fell off the earth. Cause every girl I meet try to get inside the purse. Smooth, I need a hand, do I need a pair of shoes? But I don't have a dime, but my rubber's ready to use. You can't get in my pocket cause I'm alias the Mac. I never pay for place, your girls don't shade up out my sack. You gave me sex once and now I owe you my account. The only funds available, my phone I can give out. Stay out my pocket, girl, stay out my pocket. Stay out my pocket, girl, stay out my pocket. Stay out my pocket, girl, stay out my pocket. Stay out my pocket, girl. Independent women must have fell off the earth. Cause every girl I meet try to get inside the purse. Smooth, I need a hand, do I need a pair of shoes? But I don't have a dime, but my rubber's ready to use. You can't get in my pocket cause I'm alias the Mac. I never pay for place, your girls don't shade up out my sack. You gave me sex once and now I owe you my account. The only funds available, my phone I can give out. Stay out my pocket, girl, stay out my pocket. Stay out my pocket, girl, stay out my pocket. Stay out my pocket, girl, stay out my pocket. Stay out my pocket, girl.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yes, I like it. I like
Thank
that.
you.
I like that. That's right to the point.
It's right to the point. And that's just the loop, everyone. So if you want to hear
Ooh.
the real deal, you want to
You
hear the
gotta go
whole
to the
song.
YouTube channel. The beat is good. The words
Yeah.
are good. And I like how you did the video. The video, you're looking right at. It feels like you're sitting right in front of you, telling you.
I'm chopping you up. You better not be the one that's in my pocket, because it's for you. That eye contact is everything.
I'm telling you, he got some real eye people. He got some real eye contact in this thing. All right, so let's play. Let's play this other one, ride or die.
Right. Okay.
All right, here we go.
In this tapestry of life, she's my ride or die. My woman, my anchor, she's my reason to fly. Through the trials and tribulations, face side by side. Bound by special love that has no divide. Unconditional support in whatever I do. Even when she disagrees, she say I'll do it for you. She's the sun in my skies, and my skies say blue. She's the stars in my night, and my moon shines bright. I'm her mister, she's my miss. Sometimes niggas, sometimes bitch. She don't take it as a diss. A cat's bullshit fits. If I was poor instead of rich, she still wouldn't quit. She'd be right here by my side, cause I still be the shit. Yeah, first time we ever got a chance to be alone, we knew that it was wrong. My ride or die, baby, you my ride or die. The first time we ever got a chance to be alone, we knew that it was wrong. My ride or die, baby, you my ride or die. In this tapestry of life, she's my ride or die. My woman, my anchor, she's my reason to fly. Through the trials and tribulations, face side by side. Bound by special love that has no divide. Unconditional support in whatever I do. Even when she disagrees, she say I'll do it for you. She's the sun in my skies, and my skies say blue. She's the stars in my night, and my moon shines bright. I'm her mister, she's my miss. Sometimes niggas, sometimes bitch. She don't take it as a diss. A cat's bullshit fits. If I was poor instead of rich, she still wouldn't quit. She'd be right here by my side, cause I still be the shit. Yeah, first time we ever got a chance to be alone, we knew that it was wrong. My ride or die, baby, you my ride or die.
Whoa, I love it. I love it. Woo! I can't even say nothing. When you point like this, you think they're pointing right to the people.
That's
Wow.
right.
So, what are you working on now? What are you doing?
Okay. I'm working on doing the videos for those two tracks. Okay. I have a
Oh, you're gonna do the
commitment.
videos for them.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah. I have a
It's gonna be
commitment made in New York for this new year. One is going to be done on the second. So I have an Airbnb rented out and a model. And then the next day I'll do, on the third, I'll do Stay Out My Pocket. And I want the same model. I'm talking about three different women. And these loops, you only hear the loop. You don't really hear the whole story. But
well, that's
I
okay.
talk
That way they can go watch the video.
yeah, and I talk about three different situations with three different women with three different names. So the video is gonna be one model, but she's gonna have three different wigs and three different outfits and play each part.
Wow.
You right. So to add that little comic, that little comic edge to it, right? Because you're gonna know it's her, but then it's gonna be like, wow, he really had the guts to do that, right? So yeah, so we're gonna be shooting those videos, and then that's when I'll start really promoting that Ride or Die song, because that is the one that resonates with mostly every genre, with every person. Everybody can relate to having a person in their lives, especially through that COVID situation, who stood by their side. I've even had guys come and tell me and ask me if they could pay me for that song because they want to dedicate it to their wives. You know what I mean? So
Oh,
it
okay.
touches a lot of people. If you hear the whole song, you would see what I'm talking about.
Well, you gotta
But
send it to me when you get it, the whole so I
okay,
can listen
yeah.
to it.
Well, look, I have the unreleased copy that I can send to you. If you give me your info afterwards, I can definitely send it directly to you. Or Mikey J could
Yeah.
give it to you, okay, because he has it. But so after that, I will promote it, because that's gonna be the song that's gonna open the head of the needle for everything else to flow through, right?
Right.
But in strategy, I'm doing this podcast. It's really a spiritual podcast that I do Monday through Fridays. It's called the Hour Power with yours truly, Smooth Dre. All right. And so you could catch that on Smooth Dre dot the Don. Okay. Monday
Smooth
through
Dre
Fridays.
Dawn,
At,
the Dawn.
yes. At 6 a.m.
Oh,
Central
it's an
Time.
early thing.
Early, but that doesn't mean that you cannot watch it later because it's recorded and
Okay.
you can go back and you can check it out. So that means that if you go there now, I have a few episodes on there that you could watch. Today if you want to go. Today's show, as a matter of fact, right? So these now, and I did a documentary, and I wanted to touch on. I don't know how much time I have, but
You
I
got
wanted
talk
to.
talk about it.
Okay,
You already mentioned it.
okay, so I wanted to talk about. I mentioned earlier that I had a bout with alcoholism, right?
Hmm.
So I went through that era of not listening to my parents or doing exactly what they told me not to do. Okay, they told me don't hang out with these guys, don't do what they do. And I'm like, well, I'm going to do it because I'm going to prove to you that whatever happened to everybody else is not going to happen to Smooth Dre. So you know what happened, right? What's before the fall? Pride. And that's what happened. So I went through this dark time where I could not do my music successfully, and I had opportunities with these guys, Hot Tracks Labs. They're still doing music underground, but I had to take a break because one night they came to my hotel. I was at the Marriott in Midtown, and I had been at TGI Fridays for hours, just drinking, waiting for them to set up the video. We were gonna shoot ABCs, and believe me, when they came up to my room to get me, I was sitting in the corner of the room, hiding, not answering the door because I knew I wouldn't be able to perform. I had overdone it again. So, in 2009, I had a family reunion down in Selma, where I am now. Well, I'm in Tuscaloosa, but in Selma, where my parents are from. And I had just taken my kids that week before to see Lion King on Broadway, and I had a seizure in the middle of the show in front of my daughters. I think they were 11 and 13. They had to take me out on a gurney. I had to refuse medical help because I had had one before, so I knew I would be okay. But that was the time I had to get away from them so they couldn't see me struggling with something that I had no idea how to figure out. But I ran away from them and from my mom and went down south. After that family reunion, I took up residence in Selma just to try to figure it out. But lo and behold, I had bought two cars. You had to drive. I forgot you have to drive in Selma. You don't have transportation, you know, public transportation. So while driving, these police officers got to know me pretty quickly. And I started to become arrested for DUIs and those kinds of things. And I really had a problem. I was put into a program, a diversion program. I met this really cool judge who was also a priest, a pastor. He never threw me in jail, but at one point he told me, he said, Andre, he said, the next time this happens, I'm going to have to put you in prison because you're going to kill one of our family members. They were giving me breaks all the way up until then. They would walk me to the back of the courthouse like I was going to jail and let me out the back door, and I would get in my car and leave. They just felt, I think, that they saw something in me that I didn't see for myself because the pastor and the judge, same person, said, I could send you back to New York, but you wouldn't do what God has sent you down here to do. And so when they told me that I would kill one of their family members, it broke my heart because I knew that they were being good to me. And I finally admitted that I needed help. They found out I was a veteran. They got me to the Veterans Hospital here in Tuscaloosa. I stayed there for 3 months. I woke up one day and I was free from the affliction, and I thank God like no
Wow.
other. Then I started to go to the anonymous groups where I learned and I found God that I could have my own relationship with, not my mom, not my grandma, not just talking the lingo. I really found the God of my understanding. And a year later, I started a group called Westside Sobriety, which is an anonymous group. And we have just celebrated 11 years. And that group was set up that, yeah, we had a big party. That group was set up so that we could go back to the VA, the Veterans Hospital, while people were in treatment, and I purchased a 16 passenger bus. And what we would do is we would pick them up on Saturdays and bring them out to our outside meetings so we could bridge the gap between treatment
Wow.
and the community. Because
Outside.
a lot of times, like I felt so protected in the structured and protected environment. Sort of like having parents around you. Oh, I know I can't do anything, because they're watching. I don't want to get in trouble, kind of thing. And then I was thinking, well, when I get out, I won't have a probation officer. I won't have anybody threatening me. So how am I going to maintain my sobriety? And someone introduced me to a group like this, and it worked. So that's why I started one back in 2012.
Oh, that's
Okay,
great.
and so we would bring them, give them an opportunity to see what these groups were like, and some of them stay, some of them go back to their homes, and they find groups like these if they work for them. So that's the kind of work I found a purpose in life. Okay, and one thing I noticed, Miss Boss, the God had always seemed to give me a second opportunity to do the things over that I had done the first time under the influence that didn't work out too well. And I started to recognize this. I mean, even down to going to Disney World and getting on the Hulk, which is my favorite roller coaster. But I was able to go out there and experience it sober so that I would know that I still had the courage to get on, even not be without being under the influence with that liquid courage, right? So little things like that. So one day I'm sitting up in my office last year, November. I'm sitting right here and I'm thinking about all these things that God is doing for me, giving me a second chance at my relationships with people that, were just like shying away from me because of my state. And I said, man, wow, why don't I try to revisit my passion, my career, my rap career? So right then I got up and I hired a team. Eventually, I got the team together. A music, social media manager slash marketer, engineer, music engineer, and I just started writing. And at the end of maybe about 6 months, I had 14 songs that were recorded. And that's what I'm sitting on right now. Now I have 14 that are not recorded, at least.
And you got to
And
come back, and then you got to come back again to do this again,
yeah, I would
and tell
love
us your
to.
new songs.
Yeah, I would love to. And
This is
and
so good. It's you have so much education. You have so much things. Your past and everything that's happened to you. And you can give so much advice and counseling. It's not really counseling because you've been there. So this is real time, real counseling, real so the people can understand you. You're not just talking and it's never
exactly,
happened to you. All
right.
right. So are there any shout outs that you want to give to your people?
Shout outs.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I'd like to give a shout out to Mikey J for making this thing happen for me and recognizing me. You know what I'm saying? Seeing something in me, being willing to work with me. I like to give a shout out to my family who supports me all the way, all the time. God is above everything I just mentioned. Even though I didn't mention him first, he is first in my life. And I better let him know that because, he has an attitude when you don't put him first. You know what I mean? So I don't want him to black out our interview because I didn't put him first, because that's kind of relationship I got. He'd be like, damn, oh, you're not mentioning me. Boom. So God first.
Okay.
And just everybody who inspires me. I got a lot of people. T Brown from Hot Tracks Labs, you know, um, Mikey Dread, Jared, Lynn Rock. I mean, the list goes on. I have so much support. My anonymous family, I'm not allowed to mention them per se, because they're anonymous, but the anonymous groups that I go to, they're very supportive. I did a little mini concert at our last anniversary. It shocked a few people because a lot of people didn't even know this side of me, but the platform, you talk about giving back, the platform, the Our Power community, the Our Power show is the reason I started that, so that there could be some healing going on. We have one young lady who's in treatment who comes on every morning and tells us that we inspire her. We speak about uplifting things and things that will bring you healing, peace, and freedom in your life.
All right.
So we talk about real life things. So maybe I hope maybe one day you'll click in and join us, or you'll watch one of the shows
Yeah, well, you
and
can
see
come
what
in
we.
and click in, and you can let me know when I can come in, and
Right.
I might come
Okay. We
in.
would love to have you. That's right.
All
We would
right,
love to
so
have a celebrity on our panel, the
all
Oprah
right.
Winfrey of Canada. That's right.
All
That's
right,
right. So
so can you tell everybody your social medias so that people can connect out with you?
sure. You can go to Smooth Dre underscore official. That's SMOOTHDRE underscore official on IG.
Okay.
Okay. Then you can go to Smooth Dre dot the Don on Facebook, and on I
Do you have a
have a
website or no?
YouTube channel. No, not yet.
Okay.
Smooth on the YouTube channel is Smooth Dre the Don. One word, Smooth Dre the Don, all together. And then on TikTok, it's Smooth Dre's Corner.
Wow.
Okay? So
And
check
everybody go
me
get
out.
on there.
Yeah, check me out, and join our show. We'll be here at 6 a.m. tomorrow, Central Time. Hour Power with yours truly, Smooth Dre. You
All
know what I'm
right.
saying? Yeah.
So
Well,
everybody, I do want to thank Smooth Dre, Andre Smith, for sharing his journey, his story, his real life experience. This is Real Life Matters, and this is what matters to him. All right. So I do want to thank him, and he's going to be back. It's not going to be the last time you're going to see of him.
thank
So
you.
thanks. So everybody, thanks for watching, and good night, and bye for now.
Thank you so much.